So, if everything was built on a principle where I would call it a string theory, the verification of string theory. If you take gravity and say it would be a negative force, whereas during a thunderstorm, a positive force would be the protons, the positive energy particles gathering in the clouds. Where negative forces as gravity, gravity acts as negative forces to draw energy up into the clouds until the cloud dissipates, and then you see a lightning bolt come down. It just says that gravity is a negative force at that time. Now, if upon the detonation of a nuclear weapon 300 feet above ground, gravity acts as a force to tug at the underside of the expansion of the nuclear weapon to pull it faster, but at the same time acting as a negative force while constantly releasing proton-related particles, or positive energy particles, or more so, releasing, that gravity acts as a negative force to charge the expansion, so it makes it expand faster. This would say that built on the concept of the universe where black holes become nothing, that gravity is an electromagnetic force that qualifies as a negative force, and if electrons are built on a negative force, their foundation could be closer to say that it is gravity, as if gravity is a primordial wavelength structure that's the precursor to electrons, because they act like electrons, but there's no electrons present. And if they're not quarks, which would the proton concept, they're not in the concept of quarks, then they'd have to be the backwards goo of electrons. That would say that a black hole, for example, a gravity pocket, the way I look at it, that even if the mass that created it is no longer there, that pocket, all that is just electron energy stuck. Just a little thing that's pulling in both directions, so there's only gravity, rather than a hole, because it'd be one sided rather than two. Now, in the sense of saying the universe could be qualified as a neutral energy structure, if we were to analyze it as infinite, if we looked at say the Big Bang Theory would be possible, right? But not saying that star design is possible. Like if we were in the idea of an architect's head, and we just really popped into existence by being thought into, and then, maybe we could apply. But if the energy dissipates, it first could start off magical and then become nothing. So, that's one theory. But take the Big Bang Theory. Let's say the universe has a constant infinite expansion point because there's no resistance field to disallow the expansion. So there's nothing that will allow any collision of the explosion because there's nothing beyond the universe. So it says it has an infinite expansion point, although initially it wasn't going to be that way. It'd be like if you blow up a bomb and there's gravity pulling all the way around it, it's going to keep expanding. Now, if the gravity's not infinite, then, neither expansion. But if there's nothing around the universe, then it's going to continuously expand without anything stopping it. So you'd have to say the universe theoretically is infinitely expanding because of the lack of a resistance field to condense it. In that same sense, you would also have to say that the space outside the universe is equally infinite in expansion itself. So to say that if there's two forms of infinity, there's multiple forms of infinity. Thus, in the same concept, if you look at a fish egg, try to imagine the color of the universe compared to a fish egg, and a little white dot on the side of the fish egg, like the galaxy condensed to a dot. So you can zoom in all the way in until you find Earth, or the solar system first, and then go only a little further, and you got everything nice and right. Now, if you could see it like that in perception, you could see around the entire universe. If time was actually curved, that'd be one sense of saying it. But I could say that the universe would be more spherical if the Big Bang Theory was true, rather than flat, because the principle says if it was an explosion, try to imagine an explosion in the water. If it blew up on the water, blew up in all directions like a bubble. Whereas, you blow up something on a field, then it's flat. So it would say the universe would have to be a sphere more than a flat area if the Big Bang was true. Given that, that would say the universe could be equally infinite expansion itself, and anything that could represent the concept of infinity in a neutral sense, because you have positive energy and negative energy in the same location while you have a neutral energy. If you could say that neutral separates from the positive negative, and in this universe we have positive and negative separated from the design, then we could say that you could have a positive energy universe, you could probably call it heaven, if it was infinite, because you could have the infinity next to the infinite neutral energy structure, being the universe constantly expanding, the expansion itself, with the infinite heaven concept, infinite positive energy. And infinite negative energy would be like hell. That'd be its own individual universe on a different energy structure. And then it'd be like an atom or so that you have infinite negative energy, that'd be like the electron concept. Infinite neutral energy, that'd be like the neutron concept. And then be infinite positive energy, that'd be a proton concept. As if you can put three individual infinite objects in an alternate form of an atom. But by the way, it totally exists, so imagine the universe is smaller as a neutron. And heaven is a proton, hell is an electron. Constantly expanding, never running to each other. It'd be like zooming out, panning out, while looking a constantly expanding ball. Like if you zoom into a ball, it gets bigger, pull out, it gets smaller. So it'd be like pulling out while it's getting bigger, so it doesn't look like it's doing anything. So that way the space in between is constantly infinite because it's constantly expanding, but it doesn't look that way. So you can actually use physics representation before you use the protons and the atoms, and neutrons, and electrons, of course. That's pretty much what I came to you with before I started practice weirdo shit. But anyways, for those of you guys who like listening to my little channel on YouTube, Miguel Morales, the concept of the atom, if it was to be exact, you zoomed out to say that infinity could be brought down to 3 and it could be within the structure of an atom, then if there was one God per, say, area, God per, say, heaven, hell, and the universe itself, then you could say alternatively, if there were alternate universes and the concept that the Big Bang was technically true, that you could have alternate atoms. Plus, if each God was the space of an atom, you could have alternate gods in that concept. So if there was an infinite amount of atoms in that concept, because, like the amount of space, the way we see the universe currently, precursor concept, then you would have to say that the atoms could represent an infinite amount of gods, and thus, if you were a consort to an infinite amount of gods, under the theory, if they were like atoms, and they owned about 3 individual universes per each, and they were constantly more like the ether concept, the Big Bang, I brought that up to you guys before, that theoretically, if you were a consort, you would consort to an infinite amount of gods, to where it would say infinite amount of knowledge, be one God for every year for infinity, so you could live as long as the knowledge was provided, and if that was that many, then you could live forever, under the concept. I don't see why it's so difficult to understand what I keep telling you.